So a couple of episodes ago, we had a news segment that highlighted how Saudis jumped ahead in their World Bank's data index. And it really got me thinking there's quite a bit that Saudi is moving ahead in on World Bank rankings and UN rankings and just for different international organizations. So in September, actually, Saudi was ranked fourth globally in the UN Digital Services Index, and Riyadh was ranked third among 193 cities worldwide. So I wanted to do a little bit of a deep dive on kind of e-government in Saudi because it's a really big thing and it's quite different. And actually being Saudi and also living in the UK and going to the US, I think Saudi's kind of leaps and bounds ahead in certain areas when it comes to e-government. So in that one UN Digital Services Index, the kingdom jumped 25 places in 2024, becoming one of the leading countries worldwide. It ranked second amongst G20 countries in the index, and the kingdom also secured seventh position in the e-participation index, while Riyadh, as I mentioned, ranked third amongst 193 cities worldwide. So you have an entity in Saudi called the Digital Government Authority, which recently released a report called Digital Transformation Strategies Across Saudi Arabia, which provides an overview of digital transformation efforts within Saudi's government as part of Vision 2030, and it highlights the goal to become one of the top 10 digital governments globally by 2030, and eventually one of the top 5. The report covers 8 government sectors, 31 digital strategies, 235 strategic objectives, 490 transformation initiatives, and 506 pain points starting from the year 2022. It's quite technical, so I wanted to create kind of a little bit of a highlight reel about what's in this report. According to the findings, a key area for development is around governance and efficiency. So as much as it's climbing in the rankings and doing really well, what this report does is highlight areas for improvement, from data management and security, operational and process excellence, infrastructure, as well as strategy and organization. Data management, security, and interoperability was also observed to be the primary pain point, which highlights challenges pertaining to robust data governance, cybersecurity, and seamless digital interoperability, underlining the critical importance of data integrity, integration, and security in the digital era. Another key area was more closely related to people. So both customer interaction and satisfaction, as well as workforce and upskilling, were identified as key pain points. And finally, ESG was identified as a pain point, but to a much lesser degree than the other ones. But it highlights the emerging importance of environmental sustainability and social responsibility considerations in digital transformation strategies. So the DGA report highlights the need to face digital vulnerabilities and enhance security through better organizational management and integrated decision making. But it also acknowledges that there's a critical need for skilled talent versed in digital technologies. Establishing a culture that fosters digital illiteracy and embraces digital changes is vital for the successful implementation of these digital strategies. It also tells us that data management and integration are the biggest challenges in digital transformation, making up 18.2% of the total. And international experiences like those in Singapore and Australia, for instance, highlight the importance of data governance. And in the analyzed entities for this report, improving quote, data management and governance, unquote, which accounts for 10.3% of the challenges, would enhance data security and exchange between the entities. So basically what they're saying is we need better skilled people and more communication between the different entities and a better management of the data overall. So it seems pretty straightforward, but it really does highlight how these pain points are kind of obvious in a certain way, but what it is that we can do to really improve that, or that they can do to improve it. I think, though, it's important now to kind of just take a step back and really think about the strength of digital government platforms in Saudi and how they make our lives a lot easier. The report acknowledges that the emergence of numerous applications, platforms, and services really impacts operational efficiency and excellence, as well as governance and strategic direction. I think some of the ones that we know are Abshir, Nafad, Nusuk, SPA has one, Al-Ula, Visit Saudi. There are so many more, but all of these are government platforms, and they all allow people to access government services much more streamlined than they did in the past. So a special event was held this week by the DGA to launch a new digital platform. His Excellency Ahmed Al-Soyan, the governor of the Digital Government Authority, stated that the platform code is fully aligned with both local and global digital standards. He emphasized that it represents a significant step forward in Saudi Arabia's digital transformation journey, promoting greater compliance and enabling the delivery of efficient, impactful services that support the nation's strategic digital objectives. So to me, this almost seems like the response to some of those pain points that were in that report, because the platform code is an open source design system that combines coding frameworks, design tools, and community guidelines. And it allows for the rapid creation of consistent user experiences. It provides designers and developers with ready to use assets to meet specific needs more efficiently and effectively. And it also, at this event, introduced the Saudi Digital Strategy, which is aimed at driving the growth of the digital economy and expanding opportunities for both public and private sector products. Other key initiatives that were announced were the Digital Transformation Ambassador Program, which fosters a connected digital community, and the SCENE program, which enhances user experiences both locally and globally through advanced frameworks and tools. So it's really created some open source tools that people can use to develop more platforms that can deliver these e-government services to more people. So if you are a government entity and your current application is a little bit bulky, it's not as agile as it needs to be, what this platform is doing is it's connecting you to developers as well as tools that are available for you to enhance the deliverability of the services that your platform provides. So I think it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, rankings aside, digital platforms in Saudi are amazing for the end user. I mentioned this in the beginning, and I can easily access government services personally online wherever I am. It really improves my day-to-day life. And especially considering how difficult it can be to renew your passport or pay a fine or access, some of your government documents like, property deeds and things like that. All of it is in one place and you don't really have to go looking for it. Like if you even forget your ID at home, in Saudi, you can pull out your app and use that as an ID, and it works just fine because it's created in a way where it is definitely authentic. It can be authenticated. So we've cut out a lot of the middlemen who can be inefficient, maybe, or unfamiliar with the procedures, and it really circumvents things like long lines, work interruptions, having to take time off to go do stuff. All of that is gone. So I haven't had in any part of the world, I've never experienced anything as efficient as I have in Saudi when it comes to e-government. And so I was really happy to kind of delve a little bit deeper into that, think about the rankings and actually how that's playing out in day-to-day lives of Saudis. But also it was interesting that I'd read this report and that coincided with the announcement of the news about the new platform and the open source material that they're providing to other entities.
One thing that Saudi Arabia has going for it, I mean, kind of alluded to it just now, but you have a government that's really working together. There's sort of a clear mandate for them to get things done, and then for them to work together as necessary to achieve goals that go above any one department, any one ministry. In the US, oftentimes, things are very siloed between departments, cabinets, and so you're not going to have this sort of like cross cabinet embrace of digital technologies, at least in lockstep with each other. Second is you sort of have a country that is younger, right? So you have a more tech savvy country on average compared to other countries, and they are unbelievably well connected. 99% internet penetration in Saudi Arabia. I've seen 100% as well. People that are young with smartphones that are really appreciating these sort of prioritized services. Things like that you mentioned, Absher. For COVID-19, tracking people where they've been was enormously helpful for Saudi Arabia when they were able to sort of, detect, hey, we have a COVID outbreak here. Who was there? It's all on the phone. You can let people know very quickly. It's just really cool. I mean, and there's a lot in this report. So it was nice to kind of get the rundown. 506 pain points. That sounds like very familiar. It sounds like me working in my garden for about an hour, but I mean, that's it for them to do this, to highlight everything as they have, and then say, hey, this is how we can get better. This is what we're doing now. And then to make everything open source so that you can have innovation in this space. That's part of the problem with digital transformation is you really need innovation to drive it. If you don't have an ecosystem where innovation is critical, then you're not gonna have effective digital transformation. So second in the G20 sounds about right to me. And so things like this eventually help Saudi Arabia change the image of itself in other people's eyes for things like tourism when they come visit. Really interesting report. I also know that there is a lot out there on digital transformation in Saudi Arabia. So as I kind of just mentioned, it's an ecosystem that a lot of people are plugging into for business opportunities to grow their products to be integrated with government and government services. Just the kind of thing, it may not get like attention necessarily on this show, that it's really good to highlight. So well done, Dr. Hanaa.
I think the reason I really wanted to do it was I think it's important for people to know actually how easy our day-to-day lives are here. You know, people often do think about Saudi Arabia and they think about hardship for a lot of people, you know, and I actually think that for everybody that has a phone, which almost everybody I think has at least one, if not three in the country, and people have access to devices. And as you said, it's not just the devices, it's also the internet connectivity. And this is across socioeconomic statuses and citizenship. You know, everybody here has access to some mobile technology. And so once you have that, your life is a lot easier, and you don't have to stand in line at the DMV all day. So I think that, you know, there's something to be said for that.
For sure. I was super interested in, when living there with my family in the winter and spring of this year, it was really interesting to kind of like watch my wife, Sophie, kind of like get around and kind of get her feedback on like how life is for a mother of then two children to be living in Riyadh. And she kind of was amazed by, you know, how digital, how seamless a lot of things were. It was then that she started using her phone to pay for things. Here, we still use credit cards. And I mean, you have the tap to pay thing everywhere, but I mean, for some reason, I just still use the actual card. And it was just kind of cool to see it in real life. You know, she's like, oh, do you want to go to Riyadh season? Let's book it. It's online. Like, your tickets are here. It's just little things like that that kind of add up and make an experience living or visiting a city in Saudi Arabia worth it and cool and fun. I mean, and so much is automated. I mean, it's really amazing. When you get a speeding ticket, which is not Absher, it's Sahur. Sahur is like the speed camera situation. They just text you the ticket and ding your bank account, and that's it. And they give you a picture of it, which
you get a picture of yourself violating the law. Yeah, you know what Sahur means, right? Does anybody ever tell you what the word?
I don't.
So all of these apps actually usually mean something as well, and they're great. Like, somebody came up with the formula, and because they all kind of rhyme, so it's great. But Sahar is the person that stays up all night watching you. Well, not watching you, but that's what the message is. Like, Sahar is somebody that stays up late. So it's up, it's watching you. Don't speed. Speeding kills.
Speaking of staying up late, a lot of people are driving around Saudi Arabia at night. I mean, like super late, 12, 1, 2, 3. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like there is traffic at that time. And it's always just kind of like something you notice, because the speed cameras in Saudi Arabia are like really, really good. At the photo you get, I'm like, I have the one that I have of me. I was using the phone. I probably told you this, but I was like talking on the phone, merging in, and they were like, oh, you're on the phone. And I was like, oh, wow, you can detect that? That's amazing. But yeah, I mean, like, so the technology, I mean, it's all part of this wholesale approach to embracing technology for a kingdom that, until the vision was launched, really wasn't doing this strategically, like, at all. And so it's kind of cool. We're like witnessing the subject of the show, this transformation in real time. This is a big part of it. So great deep dive. Love it.
Thank you.